Hey everybody, welcome to another World of Tanks replay, and this one is in the Bulldog. I've ended up on Redshirt from the north spawn, and this was another attempt to get LT-15 done.
Let's go.
I decided to do something a little different than what I usually do on this map. Rather than going for the hill, which is where I used to try and go with light tanks, with mixed results, I decided to kick out to the east a bit, and head to some kind of foliage cover over here and see if I can spot the enemy tanks as they move into position in the eastern valley. It should also give me some degree of sight on the hill. So if the enemy push through to the hilltop, I should be able to see them, and maybe even put my gun to use. And lo and behold, there is a perfect cluster of bushes right here, which completely cover my tank on three sides.
Enemy is hit.
The enemy LTTB is the first thing lit, and I get a quick shot into him. There's a tree between us, so he's not going to see me. Of course, if anything else was pushed up as far as him when I fired, they may have spotted me, but he's far ahead of his team, being one of the faster tanks on it. My team are mostly taking up defensive positions and not really playing this very aggressively, which isn't promising. Now, I could get nice side shots on these guys, but that's not my job. My job is to keep them lit. And in any case, if I fire my gun now, I'm almost certainly going to get spotted and taken apart by almost every gun on this side of the map. The longer I can stay here spotting the enemy, the better off I'll be. Even if the shots aren't going in yet, it tells me how much stuff they have on the eastern side of the map, and there's also a chance that our arty might make a shot on them. We've got something of a sniper line forming on the hilltop up in the sort of center of the hill there, which isn't a bad thing. They're shooting the things I'm lighting. Perhaps it would be a little more comforting if they play a little more aggressively rather than letting the enemy drive right up to me before they get shots on them, but oh well. Usually if you leave the map this undefended, you're not going to have a good time. If you let the enemy push right through the eastern valley without any opposition, not good, but we actually got away with it.
Enemy armor is damaged.
I get a quick shot on the KV-2. I don't get lit, which emboldens me to take another shot at the T-32 as he passes.
Enemy armor is hit.
And in any case, because my team aren't likely to put out as much spotting damage, or sorry, as much damage as I need off of my spotting, it kind of occurred to me that if I wanted to get LT-15, I was going to have to use my own gun as well. I do get lit here, probably by the LTTB, so I take a quick shot at him and back into cover. He is still shooting at me, although it's hard to tell if I'm still lit or not. I wait a few seconds. By now I should be unspotted, and then I move back into my position. Now this is normally pretty dangerous, but in this case I thought I'd give it a try. Doesn't really matter, as the IS managed to actually spot me right away and took a quick snapshot my way and of course missed. So at the moment I'm just kind of looking at the map and trying to figure out what I want to do. The west flank is not looking so good, and the enemy are pushing up through the east. They do have that T-44 on the hill. They also have the IS-3 down in the river valley. Now, if I can get past that IS-3 and get rid of this LTTB, I might actually have a really good shot at getting in behind the enemies in the east, but I can't do it just yet. I have to wait. I drop back a bit. I can't afford to be on the front line. I need my teammates to do some work, even if they're a bit reluctant to actually make it happen. I'd also like to get some shots on this T-44. He's a nuisance. He's actually one of the bigger threats on the enemy team. He's by far their best player. And he is also paying attention to what I'm doing, as he took a shot at me earlier. Move to another bush now, just to see what's going on. Looks like the T-44 is otherwise engaged. Moving back into my original position. I want to see what the LTTB is doing. I also want to see if that IS-3 is still there. You can see I'm actually looking down where the IS-3 is. thought I might get a chance at the T-44 here, so I back up just a little before deciding not to bother. And although our team has given away pretty much the entire western half of the map and most of the eastern side, we are kind of holding for now. What we really need though is something to break the stalemate. Our 5100 goes in on these guys, finally. And the enemy have broken through the west completely. I decide now's as good a time as any, and I begin making a run. Of course, I'm heading downhill, so I get a good amount of speed off of that. I get lit by the IS-3. I just got to try and avoid getting shot as I move past him. And now I think the T-44 is firing at me as well. Thankfully, I'm able to deftly evade all of the enemy shots, spot one of the arty. I decide to hold up my charge on the KV-3 to deal with the FV-207 here.
Enemy armor is damaged.
And as it happens, the Löwe AMX-50 and our T-20 have actually managed to push through the
Enemy
east.
armor is hit.
Oh, sorry, not T-20, our Super Pershing, T-26.
Enemy armor is
So all that's
destroyed.
left here is the KV-3.
Target acquired.
He's a sitting target for them, but I decide to push in on him anyway because I want that damage,
Enemy is hit.
and I'm able to set him on fire.
Tank is
The KV-3 is of course basically made of fuel tanks. So I picked up a nice amount there, but I still need more. The enemy LTTB is way over there, so I'm not too worried about him at the moment. I want to see if that IS-3 is still in the same place. Now, there's way too much foliage, I'm not likely to spot him through that. It also means he's not likely to spot me. Here I see the LTTB is actually up on the ridgeline, and I realise I have an opportunity to take him out.
enemy armor is
I do get one shot in before he pulls in behind the ridge in front of me, and I begin heading back to my own side of the map to try and defend our arty and defend our cap. Meanwhile, the eastern charge heads straight for the enemy cap, which is good. We do need some people to put cap pressure on the enemy, while myself and the two TDs in the northwest corner try and mop up the enemy assault.
got him.
Take down the JP4, so the Jagdpanzer 4, with a nice easy side shot there. The LTTB has scooted off to deal with our tank destroyers.
Permission to
I
engage.
take a quick snapshot, it doesn't work out,
Find another target.
so I begin looking for a better aim shot right here, and I'm able to track him right in front of them. He drops his repair kit, but it's not going to save him, as I get a lucky shot into his turret. Now that actually shouldn't have hit him, but the shot went way out wide to the right side of the circle and actually tagged him in the side of the turret. So for once, the game's netcode and my shitty internet work in concert to give me a nice kill on that guy.
We didn't
The
penetrate
KV-4 is
their
pretty
armor.
heavily armoured, it's going to be a problem for me.
Enemy armor is
Thankfully he's showing the back of his turret as he finishes off the JT-88, and I'm able to get a couple of shots through his side as well. I can't afford to get hit by this guy. That gun will deal 300 damage on average per shot.
Their armor.
So I pull back into relative cover here behind this little bump in front of me and try and bait him into missing over my head. He doesn't, he hits me right in the face, but our arty deals with him, and then I go to crest the hill and see what's up here. Now he's really worried at the moment, and that's definitely why. The enemy IS-3 is coming straight at me, but he is absolutely terrible. So I'm fairly confident that he will charge directly forwards, expecting me not to move, and I can use my rapid acceleration and excellent mobility to scoot around his back and shoot him once or twice from behind before running away laughing. Our charge in the south has pushed through the cap and is now mopping up the last of the enemy down there. T-44's gone back to defend, as any good player would. Unfortunately for me, the IS-3, by sheer luck, happened to be looking in my direction as I crested the hill. He should have been looking at the arty that was busy killing him, but for reasons that only coin flippers will know, he was looking in the complete opposite direction from the spotted enemy tanks. Maybe he realised I was coming up behind him, but more likely he just decided to wave his gun around. Lua sits on the cap to guarantee the win, but it looks like our Super Pershing's got it, and sure enough he has. Just the IS-3 left to worry about now, but we've got a certain win here as long as the Nova doesn't drive out. And just to put the icing on the cake, the Lorraine manages to wipe out the IS-3 as it tries to kill the M44. And finally, I'm able to get Light Tank 15 for the Stug 4. This ended up being a little bit more than I needed. In fact, had this been the Light Tank 15 mission for the T-28, I would have got it as well. So I was quite happy with that result. And of course now I'm able to work on the T-28 light tank missions, which I've been doing for the past couple of days. So I was pretty happy with this match. Pretty typical Bulldog play, bit of spotting, bit of shooting, bit of running around screaming while shells impact into the ground in front of me, behind me, and to my sides from every direction. It was also one of my last matches in the Bulldog before unlocking the T-49. Now I'm not going to say one of my last matches in the Bulldog because there's no way in hell I'm going to sell this thing, but at this point I only had a couple matches to go before I picked up the T-49, and indeed I now have a T-49, and there will be some videos of that coming shortly. But the next few I believe will be Bulldog matches, and I think there's some other mixed stuff in there as well. So we'll wait and see. But in any case, it's nice to get a good light tank match every now and then, considering how bad I am at light tanks as a class. And hopefully this has been of some use. That spot that I was in seems to be pretty solid, especially with the way that the enemy team typically deploy. And unless they have some really aggressive scouting going on, they usually won't get close enough to proxy that position, and usually their own tanks won't be game enough to peer over the ridge that the LTTB was on. So you can spot quite effectively from there, and also you've got eyes on the hill. So much safer than just going straight for the hill. As always, I'd like to thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.